Welcome to Life Biz and All That Jazz, the podcast where real talk meets transformation. If you're navigating mental health, healing from trauma, or just feeling like you're living a life that isn't aligned to what you truly believe, then this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Jasmine Lisciotto, and every week we dive into the messy, the beautiful, the in-between and empowering processes to learn how you can create a life that is truly aligned to yourself. So if you're new here, welcome to the family. And if you've come back for more, thank you for joining the ride and coming back for more. Quick favor, most of you listening haven't subscribed to the podcast, so I would love it if you hit subscribe. It really helps boost the organic reach and to get out there and to reach more listeners like yourself. Today's episode is a little bit different. It is for the curious. It is for the ones who walk into a room and feel some type of energy and know that things just don't feel right. You may understand where I'm getting to, or you might be thinking, what is this episode about? I'm joined by the incredible Sam Ritchie, who is a spiritual energy clearer, intuitive guide, and author of The Echoes Within Walls. Sam's story is inspirational, and she really has embedded who she is and removed the opinions others have on her, because other people's opinions are none of her business. And they are the words from Sam herself. In today's episode, we explore how properties and physical spaces hold energy from past events and past occupants. We talk about negative energy, what it can feel like, how you can clear some negative energy around your household, your workplace, or just spaces that you do spend some time in. We also touch on cultural differences, which is quite interesting about some different spaces that Sam has cleared energy in different countries, and also about emotional healing and just discovering things about ourselves. And what we really do hone back into is that we are all unique. We all have our own special power, and then we can always decide what we want to do in life and how we want to live. So that's enough from me. Let's bring in Sam. Sam Ritchie, welcome to Life Biz and All That Jazz.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It's my pleasure. So I wanted to start off with talking about, and you taking it back and telling us where kind of your journey started before you got to what you're doing now, which I'm really, really excited to talk about as well.
So this is a lifelong thing.
Yes.
So as a kid, I was always happier in the spirit world. Humans terrified me. If the doorbell rang, I hid. If I would shake as I walked across the classroom at school, so much so that my mum was called in regularly because of it. I was just terrified of people. So to me, it was totally normal. And to be fair, it wasn't until I was about 20 that I knew that other people couldn't always see what I could see. And for me, it was just like, well, everyone can, can't they? Right? Apparently not. No.
Yeah.
So it's been a lifelong thing. And when it was pointed out that not everyone sees what I do, I tried to shut it down, not successfully at all. And I became an estate agent. I always had a fascination with houses as well. So I fell, or did I, into a estate agency where I was, if I came across a spirit, I would ask that it got sent to the light. This for me is normal. So it's like, okay, that's just what happens, what I do. And I was also able to sell properties that no one else in the office could. And I didn't know why. And I didn't have a clue that what I was actually doing was space clearing the property just by being there. So it wasn't until a few years later, and I had 2 kids, we moved home, and the property, I knew there was no spirits in it, but it just wasn't comfortable. It just felt off. I mean, the black bedroom with the black ceiling wasn't helping. But and then at that time, I met someone who said to me, "Oh, you want a space clear?" I was like, "What is that?" And Google wasn't a thing back then. It was like, you basically set your intention, you go around clapping and with joss stick, and you clear the energy of your property, and then you get rid of the negative, enhance the positive. So, all right, I'll give that a go. So I started doing that, and it was literally that basic. And all this information came in about the property and its history and the people that had lived there before. And I was like, okay, I thought this was normal, me being me. Normal is different for me. And I excitingly said to this person everything I saw, and she went, not everyone can see that, right? I just thought it was normal. So then I didn't do anything with it. I had young children, I was working, and I would space clear people's properties if they had a problem, a bad smell, things moving, just didn't feel right. I'll go, I'll come and space clear that for you. We then moved to Spain and lived in a lot of properties, which I space cleared all of, and carried on doing it for friends and family, and didn't even consider it. I was working in restaurant kitchens, and COVID hit and all the bars were shut. So I had no job. So it's like, okay, I can use this as an opportunity. My kids are older and I've got all this time on my hands. I'm going to learn to read oracle cards with Carl Gray. So that's what I did. And I started giving free readings just because I was practicing. I didn't know what I was doing. Also, there was so much fear and worry and people being marginalized that they needed guidance and reassurance. And oracle cards are a wonderful way of giving both guidance and reassurance. And then people wanted to pay me. I was like, hang on a minute. I can do what I love and feed my family.
Perfect.
Yeah, which is quite a cool place to be.
Yes.
Yeah. So I set up a website and I put space clearing on it, thinking it would be a tiny part of what I do because I live in rural Spain. You've got to be spiritually aware or have a severe problem, and you've got to be somewhere I can get to. And then I guess a few years after that, a friend came to me. I'd space cleared their holiday home 10 years before and forgotten that I'd done it. And she said, I've got this huge problem with the property in the UK. My grandparents left me this property. It's rented out and it needs essential maintenance. But the tenants just won't let me in. Can you space clear it from a floor plan and an address?
Wow.
And I had no clue. And I said to her, I have no clue whether I can do this or not, but I'll give it a go. All my oracle cards say, just say yes. Worry about everything else after. Just say yes.
Yeah.
So I said yes. And as I started to draw the plans, because bearing in mind, I didn't know where to start. So I'm like, you got to tell me where to start. And they told me I had to draw the floor plan. So I drew the floor plan and all this information started coming in, including her grandparents' names. I was like, I can do this then. Within 24 hours, the tenants had given her access and the work was scheduled. So it's like, okay, not only do I get the information, the results are the same. And that led to it being a big part of my business because now I can space clear everywhere in the world.
Yeah, international.
I've done 7 countries so far from my office.
Wow.
And that led to me writing the book Echoes Within Walls, which is not only my backstory, but also the case studies of the amazing properties and entities that I've met along the way.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, I've got some notes to talk about your book after, but I'd love to hear more about some case studies. People listening, things that people may think that are kind of normal, but they're not. But they think, oh, this is a bit odd in the house or something like that. Like, can you tell us some cool stories?
Okay, so if you think, let's get down to basics.
Yeah. Cool.
Right. So we're all energy, right? And everything is energy. Quantum physics tells us this, right? So, but in a practical way, we've all walked into a place and it can be the most gorgeous place, but we don't feel comfortable. Or we've walked into a place and it can be a bit of a dump, but we just feel at home there. What we're doing is we're picking up the energy. We even say it. If we walk into a room where there's been a fight, we say you can cut the atmosphere with a knife, right? We're picking up on the energy. And this is what properties do. So they pick up on the energy that's happened of past events, much like our brain does. It's always the memories that you don't want that are at the forefront of your mind. The things you should have said differently or right? It's not all the love and the parties. Doesn't tend to be, unless we practice, the first thing that comes to mind. It's normally something else. And the property is like that. So that can really affect what's going on in a property. And things moving are not necessarily a problem. My dad turns up. He's been here this week. My daughter's changing her business. Well, not changing a business, starting a new business alongside the one she's got. And my dad approves. So he made the fan start when it wasn't even plugged in. And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, don't worry, it's just granddad. So it's not it's not always a bad thing. It can be a loved one trying to communicate with us and give us reassurance. But it can also be when a spirit is stuck and they don't know that they don't know they're dead, or they weren't particularly nice in life and they don't want to give up that control. So I've come across spirits that have created the most horrendous smells, but not all the time. So it's just when they're like, why is there people in my house? Then this awful smell will turn up. Or there's so many things move. If I don't wind, I have inherited a clock from my gran, and if I don't wind it up regularly, even though it doesn't keep the right time, she moves plates on my dresser. She just literally moves them like that. It's like, okay, I got 1 o'clock up, have I, Granny?
Yeah.
So it's a way of communicating, and it can be a way of frustration as well. So if things are moving, it's like, it can be a, why are you in my space? Or it can be you're doing the right thing. We love you. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But if it's troublesome and it's upsetting people, it's upsetting animals and kids, then you want to do something about it.
Yes, it's either embracing it and knowing it as a sign, or, like you said, if it's causing disruption. For me, I've never really experienced, I get like random signs of things, like my dad's passed and my dog recently did. So like, I feel like smells, I'm always an embracer. So you've obviously, you've come from going, like turning against not turning against, but, like going against what you felt called to as a young age. And it took you some time and, different things to make you transition into it. Do you feel like the signs were really clear, or you kind of just didn't really understand because you thought, well, this isn't unique in a way where it is? You thought everyone else had it. Is there, specific signs that you had that made you really shift?
Yeah, well, I literally thought everyone else could see what I could see. For me, it's totally normal, and it never crossed my mind to do this sort of work as I was leaving school and things like that. I mean, the careers teacher didn't go, you want to read oracle cards and space clear?
Yeah.
No, they told me I should be a prison guard. I think there was a shortage at the time.
Oh.
So it wasn't anything that, obviously I was aware as I got older that people did read oracle cards and tarot cards, and there were psychic mediums and things like that. And it always fascinated me, but I didn't count myself in that category at all. And so it just never occurred to me. In hindsight, I'd been doing it the whole time. I just didn't realize I was doing it.
Yes, that's what I feel like. It wasn't really, kind of just really transitioned into it. Do you find now when you go to shops or just everyday things, you have, because I'm a big believer of energy, and like we're all made up of little bits of particles, but do you find when you just going about your everyday life, is it hard for you to not say things sometimes if you notice things? Like if you're in a shop or if you walk into a public space and you feel something?
I do not give unsolicited advice.
Okay, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I do not, even if I get messages, unless I
Interesting.
really know the person and it's appropriate, I wouldn't just blurt out, your great Uncle Joe's just popped in to say hi. Right, to a I would not do that. Right? It freaks people out,
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. Everyone's different, but for me, I would be like, that's cool. I don't know. We all think different, but I know that they might be thinking, are you okay?
So use your discernment, right? So sometimes it's just not appropriate. So I'm like, okay, you. To be fair, my guides don't tend to let anyone in unless it's appropriate for me to say. So I don't have to monitor it too closely. With space clearing, if I walk into a property where the energy's off, if I'm not working, I quite often go, you know what, I can't stay here. If I'm working, it's different. It's totally
Yes.
different kettle of fish. But a big turning point for me was protecting my energy a daily practice, because then other people's energy doesn't affect me so much, and the energy of buildings doesn't affect me so much. There are still places that I don't want to be, and I won't go. But it doesn't happen as much now because I've got into a daily practice, and I like to do it in the shower because we all shower every day. It becomes habit, like washing your hair and cleaning your teeth. And then I don't forget, because when I've forgotten in the past, it's a problem. Because if I walk into a place or even a street and there's been a lot of historic activity, then the spirits literally throw themselves at me. But
Wow.
by putting myself in a bubble of protection, we went on holiday last month for a few days, and we went to a castle, and they lined up very respectfully in the corner. God's made it clear, I'm not working. I'm not going to leave the spirits there. I'm going to send them to the light, but I'm not working, so I do not want to see anything. And so they lined up very respectfully. My husband's going, you're working again. Because my eyes go, apparently.
He can sense it.
But they were very respectful, so I wouldn't leave a spirit stuck when I can help them, no matter what the situation. But they didn't bombard me, and that's because I've got so much better at putting my protection on.
Wow. Yeah. So it's really, setting the boundaries in a way, but
Yeah, definitely.
type of boundaries that are very, very different type of boundaries. With like historical, I guess, as well, because there's a lot of historical places in Spain and Europe in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be very, very different.
Yeah, it's interesting depending where I'm space clearing, because now I've done 7 countries and there is themes between the countries. The UK is a lot of workhouse poverty, that type of energy. Spain, there's lots of hiding, running, priests that were not men of God. They were just pretending to be. And then I did one in Warsaw and also one in Belgium. And so that was very much the energy of oppression from the Second World War. And then I've done some on islands in Spain, which is very different vibe from the Spanish. It's not the hiding and running. It's more historic than that. So it's and the ones I've done in the States are cowboys and Indians and all that type of thing, which is really interesting.
Yes, I love history.
Yeah, I do too. But I don't know the history of all of these places.
Yeah, of course.
So it's really interesting to almost see it firsthand.
That's really cool. What about negative energy and space clearing, like houses? Are there certain topics or themes that people feel before they know what's happening and before they get you to come and clear their space? Like, is there a particular kind of like habits or like feelings or anything like that? Or is it just that feeling of something's wrong here? People
come to me for all number of reasons. I have quite a few clients that have come to me just because they want to know if I pick up what they've heard about the property, which is always interesting. Then I've had properties that are stuck on the market, and there doesn't appear to be a reason for it to be stuck on the market. I mean, it's not just negative energy always. It can be the price is wrong. It can be all number of factors. But if a property is stuck on the market and there doesn't appear to be any reason, then clients come to me for that. I actually work with a couple of estate agents. So it helps them to move the properties. I work with a couple of businessmen. One's a property investor, so I do a lot of his properties on a regular basis, and a hotel, which, as you can imagine, you have all sorts of people coming in and out all of the time, dropping bits of their energy. So we program that one to have the best night's sleep ever. And then the businessman wanted to take his business to the next level. So it depends. I did a bar last week, and they had more covers the next day than they've ever had before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you mainly do, when it comes to houses, is it mainly more empty dwellings, like where they're transitioning to different owners living in there and stuff like that? Is that like the broad area, or
no?
do you
To be fair, most of them are still occupied, whether they're on the market or not. I've had a few that are empty, but most of them are still occupied.
Yeah, that's what I thought would be interesting, whether it's, they come and the energy's more stronger when there's people living in there, or like where they don't want anyone else to move in. Yeah, so most of them are occupied. That's interesting. So I'd love to have a bit of a chat about your book.
Yep.
So you mentioned that it's your story. So is it how far back? Yeah, lovely. Echoes Within the Walls. I'll link it all in the show notes as well. And I saw it's on Amazon.
Yeah, it's available from any bookshop worldwide, Amazon, and all digital platforms. So it's easy to get hold of.
Perfect. So let's have a chat about that. So what made you want to write it to begin with? You mentioned before, obviously, everything that you'd been through and got to a certain point, but what made you think one day I'm going to write a book?
Okay, so that's a strange story. Surprise, surprise. So when my mum died, she'd said that she was writing a book. So I was like, okay, Mum, I'm going to find the book and I'm going to finish it for you.
Wow.
So I searched and eventually found one paragraph that made no sense. It was like, okay, Mum, I'm not going to be finishing this book. Right. So, but that got me sort of thinking, and I think there's at least 2 transcripts of books I've written in the past which will never see the light of day. They were more of a healing journey, but it got me writing. And then I started blogging as well. And I met someone a few years ago, 2 years ago, and she'd written a book, and it was about past lives, actually. And she put on her Facebook page that her publisher was having a competition. Now, I'd already started writing this book, and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to keep writing, see what happens. Then I saw this competition, and it was for a publishing contract. And I can't remember the details. Anyway, I was like, well, I want a publishing contract. I've created a vision board. Publishing contract is on my vision board. I'm going to enter this competition. So I sent over the manuscript, and they said, okay, you've not won the competition, but we would like to offer you a publishing contract.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. So it was quite a lot of editing, bearing in mind I just scraped through school. Grammar and spelling are not my strongest point. So I had a lot of help with making sure it was readable. But so that's what happened. It just suddenly, after years of practice, I guess, the time was right, and it just went bing, 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 bing. And then, so that happened. I signed the publishing contract last September, and it came out in March. So it was a really fast and quite high heavy workload for a few months to get it ready for publication, but it went really, really fast once it started.
Wow, that's so exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You mentioned that there's some case studies in there.
Yeah.
What else does it go over?
We talk about energy in general. We talk about ley lines. We show you how to do it as well. I talk about how you can do it for yourself. So it's lots of stuff in there.
Oh, wow. It sounds really jam-packed. So like I said, I'll put the details in the show notes. So what's next for you now? Have you got anything, kind of want to work towards?
Yeah.
Or is it you're happy kind of doing what you're currently doing? Is there new things that you're learning? I think that's always exciting.
Yeah. I'm happy doing what I'm doing, but obviously
Yes.
that's not enough. So I've got a million other
Yep.
things going on too.
Yeah. I know what that's like.
Yeah, I run in-person circles as well. I hold space for in-person circles and
Yes.
online. So that's just that the online one's only 2 months old. The in-person ones are 3 years old now.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I'm keeping doing that, and that's every other Tuesday evening. And what else am I doing? I'm in the process of writing a spiritual novel as well, and I do online oracle card parties on my Facebook book every other Tuesday for free, so people can have one card reading.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but the novel is the next biggie.
That's exciting. I saw on your website about the groups as well, and you got your blog on there as well. So
Yeah.
I'll link the website to make sure people have action to that. So one thing else I wanted to mention was you knew from a young age that something was different, but it took you a while to accept that. And this is what I talk about on a lot of episodes, is like really accepting who we are, no matter what anyone thinks about us. Like our story is unique. How did that feel when you decided to really embody who you really are and, you
Yeah,
know, accept that we're all different?
yeah, it's really freeing because and I don't think I'm alone in this. We spend so much of our lives, we're told by media, school, parents, whatever, you've got to fit in. Don't rock the boat, right? You can't say that, right?
Oh.
How many times you're not good enough? Who do you think you are? We have all this stuff, and even if we've had the best childhood in the world, we're still exposed to people not necessarily intentionally trying to keep us small and to trying to
Mm.
make us fit. Society wants us all to be carbon copies. You have to do as you're told. Don't think about it, right? You go to school, you learn everything verbatim, but don't you think about it. Don't have an opinion. And so when you suddenly go, hang on a minute, this isn't who I am. This isn't me. This is me trying to squeeze myself into a very narrow box that I just don't fit in. And when you suddenly realize that everyone else's opinion is none of your business,
Yes.
it is so liberating. I was terrified of telling anyone what I did. Terrified. And that goes to past life stuff as well, where I was burnt at the stake because I have past life memory as well. You know, being murdered a few times for being a witch wasn't helping that fear of being seen. But once I was like, you know what? The likelihood of me being burnt at the stake this time round is minimal. And it doesn't actually hurt because once your body realizes you're dying, your soul leaves it anyway. So it doesn't actually hurt. It's not very
Wow. Yeah.
pleasant, but it doesn't hurt. And so it's like, so what am I actually scared of? But it's a process that I think everyone has to work out in their own way. And often in circle, I say to people, what anyone else thinks of you is none of your business. We don't have to agree on everything, right? We are all living individual lives and we need to own that. Warts and all, we're all perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
And when you really get that and it really sinks in, it's so freeing. And life goes better. Things do just go bang, 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 bang. And you're
Yeah.
like, you have an idea. You start to write a book. Then the opportunity comes at the right time. Then everything happens. It doesn't have to be a book. It could be anything, right? But you have to go, right, this is who I am. And I don't care.
I love that. I love every way that you explain that because it really resonates with me. And you know, it took me years as well to get to that point. It's always that limiting belief that you grow up to think that you have to fit into a certain box, or you know, you can't think that way or be that kind of person. You're too loud or you talk too much. There's so many things that we're told that really dull our sparkle. And then some of us, like we are lucky, and people are listening now and probably thinking, how can I get to that point? That's why I love touching on stuff like this, because it is so powerful for people to see the transformation. yeah, knowing that it is possible to get there, and we all started from the exact same position that someone listening might be in right now, and it's more that you have to just accept that it's going to be uncomfortable. I think as well is, being comfortable with the uncomfortable, that people are still going to judge and they're still going to say their things, but that's their perception. And I love what you said as well about their opinion is none of my business.
Yeah. And also people will walk away from you. And that's okay too. Not everyone's meant to be in your life forever. And that's
right.
okay. And they'll be replaced by people that see your light and appreciate your light.
Yeah. And I think that could be hard as well, is thinking that you don't want to be your true self and show who you really are because you don't want to lose people or you don't want to upset people. But it comes back to this is our life. Like, we've got our own life and we have to live it how we want to live it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have to stand in our own power and find your own way to do that. There's hundreds of YouTube affirmations and meditations and journal who you are. If you're not sure who you are, just sit there with a piece of paper and a pen and see what comes out.
Yeah, I love journaling. I always share some journal prompts and stuff in some of my episodes. And I think it's really important because journaling is easy to start. Like, it's one of the easiest tools. You don't have to get it right. There's no specific way. You don't have to, focus on doing it every day. It is a habit that you need to form. But I think once you start reading it and, like you said, kind of getting the assistance of people that are sharing their advice and, sharing journal prompts is a bit easier than starting your own. But I think if you just kind of even write how you're feeling, that used to help me at the start, is just to write down my feelings and kind of like intentions is really important. I think even if you just like, how do I want to feel today? What do I want to get out of today? I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, I agree.
So I always like to ask a few questions towards the end of my episode. One that I want to ask you is, what would you say to your younger self if you could go back? And this is more to show people that motivation and give them that little insight to what life can be like. What would you say to your younger self if you could go back and tell her before you kind of had to go through your different path to get to where you are today?
I would say own who you are.
Perfect.
And just because your mum's scared of it, because she was psychic too, she was terrified, so it was never spoken about.
Oh, wow.
So was my dad, but my mum was so terrified that I didn't know my dad was psychic until after my mum died, because he didn't want to upset her. So I think I would say to my younger self, just be who you are. You don't need to try and fit into the box. You're never going to fit in anyway, no matter what you do. So don't even try.
Yes. And I think everyone's unique in their own way, and we're all our own shapes and have our own boxes that we just need to work out how to fit into. And it's the comparison that really steals that joy and takes it away.
Totally.
So that's actually quite interesting. So I guess with your mum and dad, your mum didn't want to talk about it because it was still in a time where you couldn't really be as like who you were. Did you feel like that? It was just that awareness or that coming through?
No, because my aunt does similar work to what I do now. So it's definitely in the family. And my great grandmother read tea leaves and apparently was extremely accurate. So it's always been a thing, but it was just, I don't know what happened that scared my mum. Something happened that scared my mum. So she wouldn't go. We had a spirit lady who used to sit on my bed actually, but my mum wouldn't go to bed without the landing light being on because she was scared. So there was an incident that scared her, I think.
Something must have happened that made her not want to do it, I guess. And then, because that's interesting too, because like you said, people before that, your family before that, like it's going back generations. And that's cool that it's come through and now you're still doing it and doing it openly, where you said before it was, you were worried to tell anyone, but now you really embodied it and you're embracing exactly who it is. And I think that's really, really powerful. And another thing we touched on as well is, like you said, once you kind of accept that who you are, that's things do unfold. Because that's what I found is once I really removed anyone's opinion from myself and like accepted that what I'm doing, sharing, doing the podcast, healing out loud, like so many different things, that everything else really does flow. And the energy. Again, it's like people pick up on your energy and see that you're really authentic and,
Yeah.
you want the best for people. So I think that's really, really cool. Do you have any favorite journal prompts that you like to do?
No, I just tend to onto the page.
Brain dump.
Yeah. And some
Yeah.
days it can be like, I normally start with yesterday was a good day.
Yeah. Grateful,
Because
gratitude.
normally yesterday was a good day. I may then go on to say, however, X, Y, and Z got on my nerves or whatever. But in the big scheme of thing, normally yesterday was a good day. And then
Yes.
I normally end with I serve, I deserve.
Wow. Yep.
And then I pull an oracle card every day just to keep me on the right track so that I don't go off somewhere, which I do have a
Yep.
tendency to do. Go, ooh, new shiny thing.
Wow, that's interesting. Can you do an oracle card for me?
I can. Do you want me to do it for you or do you want me to do it for everyone watching? Okay. What does everyone watching
Wow.
and listening?
Love this.
Ooh, education.
Oh.
Look at that. So this is like, well, that could be a journal though, couldn't it? Right? She sat there with a book and an angel or fairy coming out the book. That could be a journal. So it's like,
Yes.
what education have you already got?
Yes.
Right? This
And
isn't necessarily about going back to school. It's about where do you need to grow? What education do you need to be able to sit in your own power, to be able to be who you truly are? Do you need to do some work? We all need to work on ourselves, always.
yes.
Right?
Lifelong.
It's never done. Right? So, but what can you do to help you get to that place? What books can you read that send you that direction? What podcasts can you listen to? What affirmations can you do? What journaling can you do? That type of education, not necessarily going back to school because you're not going to learn that there, but
Yes.
it's more about educating yourself about who you are, which fits
Perfect.
perfectly with what we've been talking about.
Yes, it literally we just spoke about that, so that just flowed on.
Yeah, you can't make them up. They're always, it's like, okay, that's what we were saying.
That's so cool. And one thing as well, I just thought about when it comes to energy and trauma, if there's been like a traumatic, I know it's still kind of similar, like you said, there's different energies and some houses can't sell or like with the hotels. But is there any situations where there's been like something traumatic and the family's still living there and you come and like clear it out, if you can talk about that? Like,
Yeah.
like clear that energy?
Yeah, so that happens a lot. It's not normally the associated with the people still living there.
Okay.
One example, and it is an extreme example. I was doing a card reading for this woman, and she asked me, she said she had a problem with her property. She said it was just the dog wouldn't go in some areas, her neighbors were a nightmare, and it just wasn't right. Could I help? And I said, yeah, I'll come and space clear. And I went there, and this was a lovely, bubbly lady, right? As soon as I walked up to the house, it was like, oh my God, it was like a cloud over it. It was so dark and heavy. It was a huge house as well. And I walked in and I could see why the dog didn't want to go in this area because it was like, that's the first place I'm starting because if I need a wee, I'm not going in there till after I've space cleared.
Yes.
But as a result, it was that's the place where my features changed, which terrified my client because I'd never had that happen before either. But the entity there was so dark that he literally changed my physical appearance for a split second, but he did change it. But after I'd done it, everyone who went in that house commented how much lighter, physically lighter it was, how it felt better. Her dog could go everywhere in the house. She was an artist and she'd been struggling to finish some commissions. She'd also been struggling for the 2 years she'd lived there to lose weight. Everything resolved. Her neighbors who were related to the people who were causing the problem in the house actually, had been fighting outside her house. Every time they saw her, they would shout abuse. That stopped. The fighting stopped. In fact, they used to say hello to her. The weight dropped off. her business started to flourish, and that was from changing the energy. Yeah, it was an extreme situation. Most
Yes.
people would not have bought that house, right? So it was an extreme situation, but it was having that much impact on her.
Wow. Yeah, that's so interesting. So that's like one of the extreme cases with someone still living there. No, that's really cool.
But
Well-
normally, to be fair, that was one of the most extreme cases. Normally it's some stuff, arguments, there may be a death or two, but it doesn't tend to be. That was horrific. What I saw in that house was horrific. Normally you don't get that. Well, people wouldn't be living in normally houses that are that horrifically energized unless you have no choice, really.
So did she bought the house and it was already like that?
Yeah, it was all historic stuff. It was none of her stuff.
So did she say if she felt anything when she first bought the house, or she just kind of like bought it and didn't really like?
I don't know why she bought it.
Yeah, maybe it was like a rushed. Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why. Some people buy properties without even seeing them in Spain.
Yes.
So it could have been that. I have no idea why she bought the property. But her friend who was staying with her, it was split into two as well. So there was an apartment below, and her friend point blank refused to go in the apartment downstairs. She's like, I am not walking in there. I can't. It was that bad.
Well, it's very insightful and interesting because we all live in different situations, different houses, and a lot of the times you feel it, but then it's not necessarily you don't act on it because, again, as well, people don't know that there's ways to clear energy, and that's really exciting because I'm excited to share that. And so now more people will understand it. So what's the best way for people to get in contact with you? So I've got your website, your socials.
Yeah.
What are you usually on the most, or what's your preferred method?
Okay, Facebook or via my website, everything's Sam Angel Guide.
Yeah, I've got the website.
Yeah.
I'll put all the link and everything in the show notes. Also the link to your book. And then before we know it, well, you'll have another book out.
Yeah, well, I need to finish writing it first.
Yes. It's really cool because it's like exciting for something new. I'd love to write a book one day.
Well, you will. Just decide.
Yeah.
You just need to make a decision and then go, okay, I'm doing this.
Well, right now, life, my business, podcast, that takes up a lot of time. I've still got to try not to take on too much.
Yeah.
Because, I'm the type, like you said before, so many things going on. I'll take on too much and then I'm like, really overwhelmed. But then it's, at the moment I'm busy, but it's like that stable busy, under control. Just not much
rather
spare
than
time.
manic.
Yeah. It's taken me a while, but you kind of get to that. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to share with the audience today, Sam?
No, I don't think so. Apart from go and space clean your house.
Yes.
And start with clapping because you will hear the energy change.
Clapping?
Clapping.
What about, no, that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah.
I wasn't, sure. Because I know there's like these clapping sticks you can get, but that's like nothing to really, that's like a traditional Aboriginal thing that I'm referring to. I've learnt once, so I wasn't sure if it was like with some tool. What about, do you use sage?
Yeah, sage, Palo Santo are brilliant.
I've used Palo Santo. Yeah. All right, cool.
So if you've got nothing else, clap.
And anyone can clap.
Everyone can clap. Yeah. But listen, because if you really listen, you can hear the difference. Palo Santo stage, I like to use singing bowls, tuning forks and bells.
Yes.
But you don't have to. But just protect your energy first. On my YouTube channel and website, there's a free protection meditation, or do whatever or if you've already got practice, do that, right? Just make sure you protect your energy.
Yes. Wow, that's really important.
And your intention. And don't do it if you're scared.
Yeah. Be brave. Or wait till you are brave.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared, because if you're worried that you might see something, you're going to attract more things to be worried about. So find someone that's not scared if you're scared.
Have you ever, it just made me think of something. Have you ever worked with anyone that like has dreams, like with like feels like they dream about like entities or someone trying to take over their body? That's just something random. My friend told me the other day she had like a nightmare and then she like grabbed her cross. So that's obviously a bit different. But is that something that you've ever worked with?
Crosses are great. I had one lady, I have had a couple of people that have had trouble sleeping, but not, oh, actually, okay. No, I have had one lady who suffers really, really dark nightmares. And I space cleared her house. And although it improved that, it wasn't the property that was causing the problem. There's other reasons for it. But I was able to identify why she was having them, so she could then get the help that she needed.
Yeah, from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
Very, very insightful. And as I said, I will link all Sam's details in the show notes. You can have a look at her book, and we've got the website, get in touch. And also on your website, if people want to do your online circle, or in person as well.
You have to be in Spain for the in-person.
That's what I was going to mention. But yeah, we're all over the world listening. So
if you're in Almeria, come in person. Otherwise, on my website, there's a link, book online, I think it's under.
Perfect.
Or send me a message and I'll send you the link.
Yeah, any questions or anything, they can reach out.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for your time. And to everyone listening, just remember it's progress, not perfection. And I will see you all next week.